And that brings us to the 5 for 55. I challenge Lance to give us a little preview and predictions of how he thinks this first weekend of the NFL playoffs and the wild card weekend are going to play out. So we're going to start out with each game in chronological order. Yep. And that starts, of course, with the Chargers versus the Texans.
Yeah.
55 seconds. The floor is yours.
Listen, Jim Harbaugh in his first year, man, he's really made some moves, with the Chargers team that has had talent in the past, but has failed to meet those expectations. Now they're exceeding them. I see the Chargers finding a way to win this game. They've got the momentum. Texas lose Tank Dell, and not to say that CJ Stroud in the playoffs isn't prepared. He has experience. He has more experience than Herbert, or just as much experience as Herbert. So, but I do see the Chargers finding a way to with Harbaugh.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. CJ Stroud not necessarily having as good of a second year as he did his rookie year, but they're still in the playoffs, and that ultimately is what matters most. So will be interesting to see. The Texans always seem to get that first game on the Saturday. I think they've been in the playoffs like 11 times, and every year they play the first Saturday game on the Saturday. So I don't know what it is. I think the TV execs are like, look, you guys,
let's get them out there.
Let's get them out of the way. They're the first up the gate. So on Saturday night, it's your boy, Justin Fields, and the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. I've been predicting, because Bears fans have been at each other's throats for 12 months, that Justin Fields is going to go on a generational run in the playoffs that no one's expecting. But right now it's Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback. But this is me knowing how it works in Bears world. Justin Fields is going to go off for the Steelers. But regardless, tongue in cheek, I'm having fun with it. This matchup going to be a tough one for the Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens, but obviously a lot of familiarity. Will be the third time these two teams are playing each other. Always makes it tricky when you know each other this well.
Yep. Am I on the clock?
50, get this clock going.
Here we go. Listen, the Steelers might need Justin Fields. Who knows? Russell Wilson hasn't been playing his best ball as of late. He might get hurt. Who knows? He may come in and save the day, because he will need to save the day against the Ravens, because the Ravens right now, they're humming. Okay? They're humming. They're coming. They're going to run the ball right down your throat. And when it's not, he's going to throw that ball to Andrews. He's got Zay Flowers. He's all over the place. He is the MVP of the league. So it's going to be a tough one, tough scooting or tough sledding for the Steelers.
Yeah, no question about it. And for you, I know that you've had to play the Packers 3 times in 1 year. It's never easy. The last time the Ravens played the Steelers, they won 34-17. And then the time before that, the Steelers won 18-16. Yep. So, they split the season series. Sometimes it can be harder when a team has to beat a team 3 times in a row.
Absolutely.
But just to kind of expand, I know this is a 55-second segment, but for you, the challenges of playing a team 3 times in a row, and while the Ravens might be the more talented team, how much of that familiarity really starts to kind of even the score for the team that may be the underdog.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're playing the Packers 3 times. We knew exactly what they were going to do offensively. We knew how they were going to try to hurt us. And a lot of what they did successfully on us, offensively against us defensively, happened all in the first quarter, because after the first quarters, that's where they think they can trick us, and that's where they move the ball the most. And after that, we really just settled in, and we knew everything that they went back to being who they are. The one trick play or that the wrinkle that they had in that first quarter was out now. Now we know exactly what they're going to do, and really was able to shut a lot of that down the rest of the game.
Yep, definitely. Now, maybe the easiest pick, and we'll see what you say, but maybe the easiest pick of these NFL playoffs, the Broncos versus the Bills. They traveled to Buffalo. 55 seconds. The Broncos are the Cinderella story of the NFL playoffs. 55 seconds. The floor is yours.
Listen, man, great year for Bo Nix. You know what I mean? Great year for Bo Nix and the success of the Broncos. They're young. They're young and youth. That youthfulness will get them back. They have a great coach in Peyton. But this is going to be a Bills night. You know, the Bills at home, you know, in the frozen tundra. Josh Allen, you know, one of those guys that was also up in that running for I think he's in the running for MVP. But this is going to be a Bills night. I don't think this is my second to strongest pick as far as all the picks, or easiest pick as far as the picks go. But yes, Bills find a way to win this.
Yeah, I got to be honest too. Over the last few years, and once again this year, I'm rooting for the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. And anytime I see a Bills fan walking around, I make a point to say it to them. I don't know why. Maybe they've been through so much as a fan base, and they're one of the most loyal fan bases around. And you see what they've done. Like when their stadium gets snowed in, they all come out and shovel it out so the team can play the game. And they're just there's
not a lot to do in Buffalo.
There's not a lot to do in Buffalo.
There's not a lot to do in Buffalo.
Eating wings.
It's not like they were doing anything else.
Right. Eating wings and watching football. But they are loyal to their team, and they're a great fan base who's been through a lot. So, and Josh Allen has been a great quarterback in this league, and you know he's had to meet the fate of Patrick Mahomes year in and year out. It's kind of like the Jordan curse of the 90s. All those great players that never won a championship because of the presence of Michael Jordan. And so I'm rooting for Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl, but I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get there with Patrick Mahomes, lurking around in the AFC. Rolling things through here on the 5 for 55 with Lance Briggs. Make sure you're hitting that like button. All right, it's time to root against our rivals here with the Green Bay Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. 55 seconds. The floor is yours.
This one was the easiest pick for me. The Eagles win this one. Healthy Jalen Hurts in, and the Packers losing Watson. Not to say that the Packers don't have a good team, and they struggle with Zaire struggles with health as well. But this is a game where against the best, and I think that the Eagles, as far as their run game, they have a 2,000-yard rusher. They have a ton of weapons. Defensively, they're playing extremely well. Jalen Carter is going to be a force in the middle. Too much for the Packers to overcome. Eagles will win.
Yeah, I'm inclined. I mean, it's in Philly, so it's a tough matchup, for them. But I do think that, Jalen Hurts and his health, is certainly going to be something that we have to monitor going into that game. Now, Kenny Pickett has played here the last few games and has played pretty doggone well. Yeah. And when you consider all the conversations we had about how important it is to have a good system and good coaching and, the right team around you, I think that, Kenny Pickett has kind of showed that because he's kind of picked up, the pace for the Eagles as they finish the season strong. But I do think Jalen Hurts' health status going into that game certainly will be something to monitor. Obviously, the Packers lost Christian Watson in the final game. That was hard to see. Jordan Love also got hurt. I don't feel like his injury will be anything that's going to be a bigger concern going into that game. I think they just took him out for precautionary reasons, but certainly something to monitor. Rolling things along here on the 5 for 55, getting to our final two matchups. So this is actually a bonus round of 5 for 55, but this is our number 5 question to you, Lance, and that Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders on Sunday Night Football versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in the wild card round. 55 seconds. Let her rip.
This is the pick 'em right here. All right, this can go any way, shape, or form. I think this will be one of the more exciting games of the weekend. I think the Bucs are really heating up, toward the end of the year, finding ways and with Mike Evans breaking Jerry Rice's record, but the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, they have been a sight to see this year. Very, very tough to beat. This is a pick'em game, meaning 50-50. But if I had to pick one, I think the one person that stands out is Jaden Daniels. I picked the Commanders.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, you also have, Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then you have, obviously, Cliff Kingsbury, who Lance is not as big on. But at the same time, I just think two offensive coordinators going up against each other that the Bears need to at least consider. Lance keeps saying no, but I'm going to fight him on this because I think with Cliff, I understand the hesitation, but I think what I know he can run a good offense. I know he can develop a quarterback. He's done a good job.
Do not bring Matt Nagy back into the building.
I understand. The biggest question is, can he be a head coach? And I can't answer that. I know he's a good offensive coordinator, though.
Right. Mark Trestman's a good offensive coordinator.
Yep. He's an offensive assistant for Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. So I understand some coaches are made to just be OCs or defensive coordinators or assistant coaches, and not everybody's cut to be a head coach. That being said, I still think they need to talk to him and see how much he's grown up and what he's learned from his failures as a head coach.
No. The Raiders did that with McDaniels after McDaniels was in Denver.
Okay.
We can't keep going. Don't keep going to the well. Don't be the fool that takes the guy that the first team was fool enough to take. We're going to keep being fools now? We can't do that.
Well, I am a fool, Lance. I mean, that's part of the problem with me. That's how we started this show is, I always, get ahead of my skis and, I'm an idiot. I can't help myself. It's just part of my charm. But you're going to help me through this offseason, try to wisen up.
Yes.
That I'm grateful.
Yes, I will keep you close to my bosom. Okay.
All right. Bonus round here on the 5 for 55. There are 6 games this weekend, so we're not going to cut it short. Certainly when we're talking about another NFC North rival, the Minnesota Vikings go to the Rams, on Monday Night Football. This is a 14-win team that is playing on Wild Card Weekend. They got the brakes beat off them by Green Bay, but now they travel to LA to take on the Rams. 55 seconds. Let it rip.
They are coming off a tough loss, a tough whooping, bend you over my knee and give you old school spanking. But I still see the Vikings find a way to win this game. I still think that they're the more talented team. And to the better coach team, that's to be seen. Stafford always plays well in these types of games. He's always going to give you fits, and the resurgence of the Rams has been impressive. I just think that this team, if they both come out and they play their best games, they both play their best games of the week, the Vikings win that matchup.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's in LA, but LA's fans aren't that great at making it a home field advantage. I expect there to be a large Viking fan contingent there.
No doubt.
But if they're able to run the ball, if the Rams are able to run the ball with Kyron Williams, right? Kyron Williams. He did a fantastic job this season and certainly against the Bears earlier this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the Vikings handle a real humbling loss, where they could have been the number 1 seed. Yeah. Now you fall not just from the 1 seed, but all the way down to wild card weekend, and you're playing on the road. And so does that make them play with a chip on their shoulder and a bad taste in their mouth? Or is it something that's going to throw them off their spot and take a hit to their confidence? I'll tell you this much. This is a huge game for Sam Darnold, who's had a fantastic season and has set himself up for a huge payday. But if you end your year with a dud against the Lions and then a dud in the playoffs, that might take a hit to the
body of work. He's got a good body of work, though.
He's got a great body of work. But I just think if he finishes the season with 2 duds and 1 on the playoff stage, I think that might make a little bit of hesitancy from some of these teams, including the Vikings, to give him.
Really?
I'm not saying he won't get
got
paid.
us to you got to say who was a big part of us getting to the playoffs. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was a big part of us getting to the doggone playoffs.
But we're talking about big money with these quarterbacks. So that's my point of the hesitancy. Not to say that he's not going to get a contract from a team, or even the Vikings give him an extension and let him stay here, which I think they should. I'm just talking about the top dollar market for quarterbacks. He's been playing like one of the top quarterbacks in football, 4,100 yards passing, 35 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Been absolutely phenomenal. But
there's more question mark in JJ McCarthy right now than there is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold checks more boxes right now than JJ McCarthy for the Vikings and their future.
No question about it. No question about it. Not going to fight you there, but I just think it is important for him to have a big game here. Obviously, not just for himself, but for the team as well, if they want to move on to the second round. So maybe we get our NFC rivals with the Vikings and Packers going 0-2 the first weekend, and then all we got left is to worry about is the Lions, who I'm kind of like we talked about to start the show, a little in between on. I can't decide if I'm rooting against them because they're the Lions, they're our division rival, or am I rooting for Ben Johnson to have some success because I really feel like Ben Johnson's going to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears, and so I want him to get as much playoff experience as he can. It's kind of one of those tweener spots we're in as fans. It'll be fun to watch it all play out. So that wraps up our segment of 5 for 55 here with Lance Briggs. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
We all silly like the mayor.